who are out of school and those who are unemployed in the better use of library services in our locations, townships. This is powered and brought to you by the Department of Sports, Arts, Culture, and Recreation. Without too much ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring forth the coordinator of this event, Sis Poppy, to open for us and welcome all of us. Shall we applaud, ladies and gentlemen?
Good morning. It's nice to be here. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy today. We're having the youth of today. You know, when the summit was organized, I felt it's a chance for the youth to come and learn whatever they can get from the summit. We are here to develop the youth. So I'm going to say today, feel welcome to participate. Show us how powerful the youth are. Let's demonstrate that we can be presidents and cabinet ministers and MCs and whoever of tomorrow. My wish for you is that when you come out of the summit, you should feel empowered. You should know what is happening around you. The authors who are going to tell us about the book reviews. The poets who are going to animate us with nice poetry. Let's participate, engage, and be merry. You are welcomed into our second event, that is the summit. We had one last year in Krugersdorp. It was also successful, and I can attest today that this one is even going to be more successful. Are you going to show me that? Yes. Are you going to participate? Yes. Yes. So my department, sport, arts, culture, and recreation. The Library Information Services Unit is doing this for the youth. And I know how smart the youth are. They can do amazing things. So show us the talents that we have. I'm just welcoming you. I love you all.
Hi guys, my name is Amukelani Makubela, and I'm an author of 2 books. The first book is Within the Journey, this one in a black cover, and the second one is Basket of Grief. So I'm going to be talking more of Basket of Grief than Within the Journey, because Within the Journey was the first one. So I'm going to talk about the recent one. Basket of Grief. I'm sure everybody's like, shoo, grief. Grief, everybody has grief. We just always think that grief is when you lost someone. Grief is when somebody died at home. But grief, it's everywhere. You may not have passed at school. You may actually have had something that you wanted to do and you didn't achieve that. You don't know that is grief, but that is actually grief. And if you don't go through it, you don't think about it, you don't recognize it, it may actually make you to fail even in the future. So I'm not going to talk about our failures, our this, I'm going to talk about griefs. In this book, it's a fiction book, actually, that is started with the reality. But because I'm a storyteller, I tell fiction. So whenever I hear the story, I'll come with it and start to imagine, do my imaginations and so on. So in these books, there are short stories. It contains of short stories that actually have griefs, but at the end of the day, they have the motivation, something that will show you how to grow out of it or how to rise out of it. So I've got a few stories that I've actually said I'm going to share with you because we have limited time. So I have a story under preternatural, under preternatural topic, which is like a school, a town called Nancy, a small town called Nancy. This is actually my favorite story because when I was writing it, I was writing about a person who's a writer, and me being an author, it just related to me. How I came up with the story, I cannot tell you because I'm just an imaginative person. A person goes into a small town. She's doing great in her writing career, and she finds a house that was abandoned, but now she renovated it because it's a place where she wanna be. But what she didn't know is that there were some spooky things happening in that house, and when she was staying there, so many things happened, and she ended up being looked at as a crazy person because whenever people come, things were better. Whenever people ask her what's happening, when she explained, people don't see anything behind her. So she ended up being in an asylum because they thought she was crazy. The other story that I like, it's the story, The Shadow Follows Me. What do they mean about The Shadow Follows Me? This is actually a story that I have seen so many stories, but I have put a twist on it. Why did I put a twist on it? Because I like imagining and I like telling stories. So in that, The Shadow Follows Me, it talks about a little boy who was 7 at the time, who ran away from home because of the challenges that they were having. And with our society, where I come from maybe, and other people where they come from, you find society place you in a place where you're not supposed to be. When you don't have enough at home, they'll always think you're supposed to stay there, you remain there. And those who have something at home, they're the ones who are looked to be somewhere else. So this story talks about the person who ran away, but he made it at the end with a lot of difficulties. Then he made it, it became big. But because the shadow always follows, no matter what, he actually went back, but he was afraid to even enter to his village because of what would the community say? What if maybe they still place me there? What if whatever I ran away from will still catches me? Then he went back and didn't do what he wanted to do. His family remained where they were because he was scared of the community, he was scared of the traditions. So that one is under the topic traditions. And we have fulfillments, we have the two sides of the coin. We have so many stories in this book. I'm so sure if you like stories or you like movies, this book actually makes you to imagine things. When you're reading it, you don't just read, you read and you imagine, and you start to make your own movie in your own mind. Oh, I've done that before. So I've read it. It's my book, but I still read it and still think differently of what I've actually thought. So I believe you also do the same thing. So this Within the Journey, why I'm going to talk about it a little bit is because it's the one that gave me the challenges. As authors, we have challenges. As young authors, I may look old, but yeah. As young authors, we have challenges on how to publish. My challenges were more into my strength. I can write, but I was afraid. Would people buy my book? Would they actually think, oh, it's Amukela, let me just buy? Because we see a lot of people around South Africa. I'm not saying that don't buy the abroad books, but most people, if you can check in your library at home, you have more of Vojoas Mayers, you have more of different kind from the US, from the UK, but in Africa you have few. You can barely even mention one author in Africa as a continent. Maybe here in South Africa, because you now know a few of your friends who are doing that, but if I can say in a continent, how many do you have? You don't even know. Maybe you know Ngozi because she's everywhere, you know. But to be honest, I was afraid. I was like, I like to write. Here I am, it's Amu who wants to write. And at that time, I'm working somewhere in the government, and I want to leave the job, but nobody's allowing me. It's like, no, you've got the degrees. Why are you going there where there's no money? Do you want to remain poor? You know, who's going to read your books? Nobody wants to read because South Africans are not the people who wants to read books. That's what we are labeled at. But I know that there are people who wants to read, but maybe because of what we are, we ended up not reading. But I have to take that courage. That was the best, actually the worst challenge for me. I had to pick up the courage and say, I'm publishing. I didn't know who was going to buy. I had no idea who would pick up my book. I had no idea if my books would actually be in a shop. I had no idea if the libraries in South Africa would even pick it up. Because you go to many, I'm sorry guys, but we go to many libraries and we find a lot of abroad people with the books that were written in 1990, 2000. We barely have books of our own authors. And I was afraid, would mine get there? Would mine be read? So I'm really happy that now this year you're doing this. I'm not sure if it's been done before, but I'm seeing this for the first time and I'm happy because at least some of our books will be there so that people can be able to say, this is Amu that I know. They're not going to talk about just Maya that they see on TV. It will be me that I walk within them. So when I wrote the book Within, I had that challenge and I had to overcome it. And now who's going to edit? Because you can't be a writer and you edit a book. You need a third eye or fourth eye to see it. Would I have enough money to take it through? Yes, our libraries are doing the best. That in other countries in Africa, they don't do. They give us the ISBN number, which other countries have to pay. So I had to go and research, would I be able to get a good editor? Would I be able to get the person who will do my covers? Would I get a formatter, somebody who can format my books? And I wasn't sure. I was scared. And that's why in this second book, there's a part where they say, change is scary. The change is scary. To move from where you know and you go to unknown, it's not easy. And I had to overcome that. So the second challenge was the finances, which I explained. And the third one was who would buy. And really, in this first book, I don't think I sold 20 copies. Since I published I don't know when. I only started to sell last year when I have to relook at it. Because don't actually think, because I'm a writer, I'm the best. When I'm a writer, you need to go back, you need to research, you need to compare the books. Why would people buy this? Why was this book a best-selling? Why can't I be the best-selling? So I started to do that and I did a second edition. And after a second edition, after I have criticized myself into what I wrote before, I realized there was a lot that I missed. So that goes to what I want to say today, that basic education, our government gives us basic education, they give us higher education, but beyond that is on our own. We're not supposed to just rely on them and say they will do everything. For me, I had to go and research and criticize myself and say, this is not something that I would spend money on. And I did a second edition and I did this book. So even if somebody can come and wake me up and say, I need this book, I can give them freely because I know what I did to it. I know that I worked very hard and somebody, if they read, this can compete with the abroad ones. You know, so I was so happy that, you know what, we need to recognize as youth that yes, they will give us basic education so that we can be able to speak, stand in front of people. But other stuff, if you want to be a doctor, you need to go and start watching series that deals with doctors, deals with health. You know, if you want to be a scientist, you need to go out there and start checking with scientists. How are they dealing with? And your cycle have to be the people that you want to be. You can't be a dancer and then you socialize mostly with writers. I can't dance, I can't sing, but I can write. I'm not saying that you should not have friends. You should have friends, but you should mostly have your cycle with what you need to do in the future or what you are inspiring to do now. And since then, I was surprised whenever I post in social media, nobody comments because I was in the wrong cycle. Then I moved to the book clubs, I moved into everything. Then now everything, you start to get motivations, you start to get likes, you're like, oh, I was in the wrong cycle. So if you need to be a teacher, you need to start be closer with the lecturers, to see what they do so that you learn from that because the education is basic. Thank you so much, guys.
My name again is Majani. I'm not going to be long. I'm just going to take maybe 10 to 15 minutes of your time. It's so imperative that we provide this information so that you can have the insight more to what we are doing as department and the services that we are rendering, and where also can you fit as a young person, where also can you fit as a book club team, where also can you fit as an author, a publisher, and so forth. We are Gauteng Library and Information Services. We are within the Gauteng Department of Sport, Arts and Culture and Recreation. Our purpose is mainly to establish and maintain community libraries. When we talk about community library, we talk about the public libraries that are within our community, next door to us, because we are so fortunate really in South Africa that mostly we have a lot of public libraries around us. So our purpose really as the province is to ensure that these libraries are resources and are equipped with staff, like I've alluded through the purpose of the day presentation or welcoming that I was doing. And also the aim of community library is to provide access to knowledge, resources, services, and to meet the needs of individuals, group for education, information, and personal development. There are various information that we are having at the libraries. Yes, my sister, it's a pity now that your name has left my mind. I will just communicate also with the program directors and give me your name. It's true that we're still having the challenge, if it's not also the challenge, but then where the information is still needs to be aligned to our needs. And this program is one of the vehicle that we set also to identify also those needs. As a province, we are doing a lot in terms of resourcing these libraries, in terms of also building the new libraries. The libraries are at our footstep. The libraries are even 5 kilometers from where we are staying. So this is our aim, and this is being done also through the funding that we're getting as a province from National Arts and Culture Department, where they give out the conditional grant funding. So this conditional grant funding, they just go through the local or community libraries. But of course, with our monitoring, because we are the ones that are ensuring that these funds are reaching out to these libraries and the various municipalities. We have the policies and strategies that is guiding us as a program. We are not actually acting outside the policies and the legislations. We are guided by National Council of Library and Information Services Act, Policy for South Africa Libraries, the Legal Deposit Act, National Library for the Blind Act, South Africa Library and Information Transformation Charter, the South Africa Public Library and Information Service Bill, and also the Gauteng Provincial Libraries and Information Act. So all this legislative, we are very much close to it, and we work and we implement accordingly. So, based on Gauteng Provincial Libraries and Information Act, the Section 5, subsection E, that reads this like library information should promote the culture of reading with the objective of building a nation of lifelong reading. We are working so hard to ensure that the culture of reading is being inculcated in our communities. Also, our MEC, Ms. Mbali Shope, it's so much adamant in terms of the reading, the activities, the library as a whole. Our Chief Director and also the Director Library Services, they are also supporting the programs that we are implementing in society. And one of is this Youth Summit. So my presentation today, it will focus on the reading and community outreach program, mainly that are implemented at the communities to promote reading. We have a program called Born to Read. Born to Read is a very long-standing program that the department has been rendering within the communities. But for some other challenges, reasons, we stopped the program, but for the last 2 years, we have resumed or established the program. The program is live. The program is being implemented within the hospital, the Early Childhood Development Center is been there for these past 2 years. So one of the purposes of the Born to Read is to establish and to promote early literacy to parents and children and community at large. When we say children, it's not a matter of excluding other community or other group of people, but we are saying that it's so imperative that we encourage reading at early age. You know, for me, when I was growing up, my parents used to say, "Kasisutu ikojwa esalimets." Obane ha ise le khulu, ha ya robeya, ha isa kobeya. So Born to Read is one of those reading awareness or the program that is actually building the skill and that is actually influencing the reading at the early age. When we do or we implement Born to Read, we focus on the 5 developmental areas of a child, which is fine motor, cross language, cognitive, and social and emotional. So out of these 5 developments, we focus on 3, which is fine. The motor that deals with the touching, where the child is, or during the development of a child, to learn or to assist the child to pick up, to use the hands and stuff. Team colleagues, don't say that this is not relevant to you. Maybe along the way you will just see the necessity, the importance of that, because each and every community, it has a child. Even if you don't have a child at home, but you still have a child at your next door, the neighbor, your aunt, your uncle. So it's so imperative that we improve literacy at the younger age. So as when these children are older and they are youth, you know, there is no much of them being so difficult to go to the library, it's been difficult to read. So it's so imperative. So for library services, we are focusing on the 3 developmental areas, which is fine motor and language and cognitive. Cognitive is doing more with the thinking on how the child, you know, grants or learn this. The very same book that you are showing to a child, it makes sense to him or to her when the child is about 10 or 11 years. But when the child is living around that environment where he sees the book, one day that will come and you click to say, but why this book is always here? And the time now the child, it will be on that level or the point whereby the child now you can see the importance of this book and the importance of reading. So for Born to Read, we really want to work with communities. We really want to work with the book clubs. And it's so imperative that we have in the book clubs as young people. I'm with my colleague here who will be talking more on the book club, the establishment of the book club, and mainly the sustainability of the book club, because most of the time it's so easy to start something, but then to ensure the sustainability, to ensure the success of that, along the way, it's just getting out. So for Born to Read, yes, we want to have the provincial Born to Read, and we implement at the same week with different municipalities, different communities. So please, team, ladies and gentlemen, take the opportunity and let's see how can we work together in terms of ensuring that the mother out there knows the importance of reading to a baby, to a child, even to the grandmother as well, so that most of the time these children are with the grandparents. Most of the time these children are with the uncle and aunt. So it's so imperative, and thinking personally to say that the youth of South Africa, we can, if we work together, to ensure that Born to Read is one of those greatest programs in Gauteng. Who knows that it can even escalate to national. And then through that, we have also implemented the ECD, which is Early Childhood Development Toy Library, because we are saying that, yes, we are encouraging the reading through the child is born and stuff, but also even when the child is proceed now to early childhood development, can we still be there? So through this program, we are focusing on the ECD practitioners and also at community at large, because that child at the ECD, it's your child, it's your sister's child, like I've alluded, to say, let's see the importance also of continuing and, pressing the message of reading to the child and making the reading fun to the child. So through this program, we are actually establishing the reading corner, but then we establish it at the ECD in the form of educational toy. There's a value in educational toy. And this program really is, we actually wanted to reach as many as possible as ECD, but due to the limited resources, we only are allowed through that to reach about 12 ECDs. And this was happening during the 2020-21 financial year. So even this year, we still have the program, and then we still have to go out there to the communities and identify these ECDs. Remember, the ECDs, they are in the communities. There is an ECD maybe at the same street that you are living. So how can we assist that ECD? And this program is not actually ending during when we go and we implement, or when we go and we support the ECD with these educational toys. But then we still have the societal engagement in terms of going back to those ECDs, and we check and we monitor the implementation of how these toys being used. Here we're talking about the puzzles. You will be so amazed to say that puzzles is playing a very enormous role to building the brain of the child. Sometimes we'll just say, we just put the puzzles there, we'll just block it. But along the way, the child, been able now to use his or thinking capacity in going forward, in terms of thinking broader, because really tomorrow we want those leaders who will be able to think beyond everything. When we have a problem, we need those leaders who will be able to resolve that problem without causing a problem. And we need really thinking capacity in terms of doing that. So these are the two programs that we are implementing in the way that we are encouraging reading at early childhood. So for last year, like I've alluded, we have implemented to this ECD. I'm not gonna go through their names, they are there on the screen. And also we try to actually cover as much as the part of Gauteng. So our department is, actually we have about 5 corridors. These corridors, they are served as satellite offices. So to every corner of Gauteng, we have a corridor. We have a Tshwane corridor that will deal with all the communities of Tshwane, City of Tshwane municipality. We have South. The South is West Rand, Mohali, and there are 3, my leader, West. Yes. Yes. Yes, I actually wanted the one for West. I actually wanted to cover the municipalities that are falls under the West Corridor. Then we have the Central Corridor that is City of Johannesburg, all the regions of City of Johannesburg. So from that, we picked up from these 5 corridors that I have just mentioned there. So here's the list of these ECD that were provided with educational choice, and going forward they still need support to ensure the usage and understanding also of practitioners, the teachers at the ECD to use this choice. So these are the pictures that I've tried to put there, so as serve as an evidence. There's a child there. I am not, I just love this picture of this small child having this book. So you can imagine when you make the child to live in this kind of life most of the time, where they access this book. It can be so great. Even now, the child, when they see money, they just jump. They don't understand, but they see that it is this paper thing. So most of the time, they're just so excited that they are seeing this paper. Even the books, we want to have at least that society that fall in love with books, because there is so much of knowledge, there is so much of information shared in that books. The next picture is the Born to Read, also to refill a clinic in Tshwane, in City of Tshwane. And here is type of toys that we are providing during the implementation of the program. We have also other programs, such reading program. Reading program involves those activities that share reading guidance and support reading. Mostly reading programs, they are a community-based project. It's where now you see the corridor librarian working very, very close with community members. I know Tshwane, they have a very good relationship with the NPOs as well as the book clubs that cultivate the culture of reading. So we're having those book clubs today, and they will be sharing the work that they have been doing. A recreational program where now we encourage the spelling bee, we encourage the word raffle. You know that you can just sometimes underestimate the power of these activities, but they're actually very, very good, because with that you can get the information. There is no way that you will be the champion in spelling bee if you don't read. You should read. You should go to the information centers, such archives, such libraries and museums. So I have alluded that the implementation is done at the corridor level. So this program are run mostly by our program librarian. We have hospital, clinic, libraries. For last year, we couldn't implement at the hospitals since we all know that we are still within the pandemic. So mostly hospitals is no going area zone. But then for the clinics, yes, we have been implemented this program. The hospital program is designed to provide the leisure of reading of books and information material for patients. So the idea here, it was to implement or to establish a mini library within the hospital and the clinics. Then, so that like when we sitting like this waiting to be assisted by the doctors and nurses, and we don't get bored. We find material that we can, keep busy with. So also with this program, we still need young people to work with. As you have seen below are the clinics that we have implemented during the 2021. There are 5 clinics. So we still need to also to work together in ensuring that these books really are being used, and we identify more needs in terms of the relevancy, like our previous speaker alluded to, say that they go to the library but they don't see the relevancy. So it's so important that you identify the community needs so that people, when they see information, they can relate and then be able to understand it so that it can actually change their life, because that information, it does change lives. So these are the clinics. We need to really, through your clubs, through your teams, that we come up with the program together to ensure the sustainability of these programs. One day we have this big space of library within these clinics. We have funding. We have a very big 2 project that we are funding. The first one is non-profit organization inculcating the culture of reading. Mainly because we are mandated by the Act that we ensure the culture of reading is there and we promote reading. So through these organizations, through these NPOs, we are able to reach more people, because with us alone, we cannot work in silos, but then we can work with communities. So we have actually invited Gauteng Department of Social Development. They are the ones who knows, the intel information in terms of establishing an NPOs. It's been worrying also to us to say that we have been receiving, just a few application or proposal of funding from the youth. So there are opportunities in library services. It's a matter of youth knowing which opportunity you want to grab and you act on it. For you to qualify for your NPO, it should inculcate the culture of reading. You should have the program or the project that is assisting community to improve the literacy, whether it's spelling bee, whether it's debate, whether you go to school, you assist the learners with the homework sessions, the application, you develop the application that will enable the young people to access library outside the library walls. So those are the kind of programs that we are looking for, the programs that change in life of the people out there. At least your project should be implemented for the past 6 months, and it should be implemented in Gauteng. We are only focusing in Gauteng, or we are only focusing with programs that are being implemented and run within Gauteng province.
My first poem is titled 2021, the year of Charlotte Maxayeke. Born to read, born to lead, born to succeed and rewrite history. Born Charlotte Manya, born at Fort Beaufort, Eastern Cape, born 7 April 1872. Born at 65 years of her greatness, mother of a black freedom, she is a religious leader, a teacher, a caregiver, and the first black woman in South Africa with a degree. In 1902, she was there with the Native National Congress that is now the ANC. She wrote Umtheleli Uwamdanti and led the founding of the Bantu Women's League that is now the ANC Women's League. In Bloemfontein and in Pretoria, Benny Dompas, Charlotte Maxwell and 700 strong women marched for the rights of women in South Africa. Heroines don't die, they multiply. We need to learn more about our people and our history. Read so that you can write the history of your time. Thank you.
Dumelang, I must be right, ne? I must do things right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fundile Mkhathu. I'm quiet because I want everyone to be able to listen. My name is Fundile Mkhathu. I work for Gauteng Department of Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation. Number one, let me say this, that as Gauteng Provincial Libraries and Archives, we pride ourselves today to be here, to have an interaction, by the way, with the future of this country, which is vested in your hands as young people, as you gather today on this two-day Youth Summit. We also pride ourselves as the department to have over 280 public libraries in operation in all our 9 municipalities. Our ultimate goal is that each and every ward in Gauteng must have a library. It is the ultimate goal, which is what we want to reach. But what is also more important is that, as Umadzani was presenting there, you must know that one of our requirements is to ensure that there is total operationalization of libraries, that reading takes the center core in our communities. So we gather here today to ensure that each and every one of us at least reads a chapter of a book a day. We have a very young writer today in our midst. Can we give her a big round of applause? I'm not going to talk about her. The program director will talk about her. But I am inspired by her. As young as she is, that she is able to stand up and write and change our socio-economic ills in societies. Hence I'm saying, let's give her a big round of applause. What we want to see is the libraries of the future. MEC, Her Excellency, the Honorable Umbali Khope, wants to see what we call libraries of the future. But how do we then describe libraries of the future? And what is a library in essence in this day and age? We need to be able to understand that. We need to understand, number one, where are we as the whole world, as we have entered the phase of what we call Fourth Industrial Revolution. What is it that we talk about when we talk about Fourth Industrial Revolution? And I said one day, one professor in East London described Fourth Industrial Revolution as witchcraft. And we were all amazed, we all laughed. But then again, what is witchcraft? But we will leave that topic for another day. Fourth Industrial Revolution is the use of what we call artificial intelligence. Hence, that professor spoke about witchcraft. Because he then says, you are able to sit here where you are and be able to see what is happening in the other parts of the world when you send small molecular robotics. So you are able to see, you are able to translate, you are able to talk to somebody else on the other part of the world. As the Honorable Stella Ndabeni one day in a debate spoke about the fourth industrial revolution and says this is not a substitute for human beings, because what we feed robotics comes from the human brain. Now we come back to the libraries of the future, where we want to see an arcade of activities taking place in the library. We want to create a one-stop service. You go into the library, you are able to take a book and read it. You go into the library, you are able to see a media center in the library, where you can even have a film, you can shoot a film inside the library. That is what we want you to see. We want you to see sporting activities taking place within the library precinct. We want to see job corners in the library so that no one runs and wastes monies, their own monies at the internet cafes. You go into the library, you are able to access Wi-Fi, you are able to apply for jobs, you are able to study through UNISA in one space. Those are the libraries of the future, what we envisage to see. And we have already started creating the state-of-the-art libraries. One of them is here in Atteridgeville, a new library that we opened about 2 years ago. But having said this, we need to ensure that as communities we inculcate the culture of reading. And we can do that if we combine together and we group ourselves in what we call book clubs. A book club can simply be defined by a group of people coming together with a common goal, and that goal is reading. But what is encouraged in a book club is that we cannot focus on one particular genre of reading. Mostly in book clubs we take what we call fiction books. The library would comprise of fiction and non-fiction books. Fiction books are the books that I sit and I write. They contain non-real stories. So it means I write in fiction, I say once upon a time, in Flagstaff in the Eastern Cape, there lived a man like this and this and this. He used to do this, that is fiction. You will know the story of Romeo and Juliet and so forth. And then when we talk about non-fiction books, we are talking about, these are now books like your books that you use when you're doing your studies, principles of economics, economics for South African students, management books and so forth. Also those books can form part of the book club. When you want to debate them, they can also form part of the book club. But what is more integral is the purpose of that particular group. What is it that you want to achieve? A book club can then comprise of 8 to 15 members. You don't want a lot of people in a book club. You know why? You don't want to have endless debates here. In a book club, you are given a chapter. We all choose today, as we meet, that we are going to read this particular chapter of this book. It's one book that you've chosen, and you agree we are going to read from chapter 1 to chapter 5. Then we make copies for all 15 members, chapter 1 to chapter 5. We all go home, maybe for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then when we come back now, we do what is called a book review, where we talk about what we have learned out of that book, what is the writer saying in that book. Now, of course, discussions are going to ensue. That is the purpose. All of us might have different views on what the writer is trying to say. The writer one day sat and wrote in a book, Poetry Spectrum, "Death Be Not Proud." There is an irony there on that particular poem, because the writer says, "Death be not proud." But death is lavishing, busy killing everyone in the whole world. Ultimately, everyone dies. Now, but he says that death must not be proud. So obviously, when we come back having read that particular poem, some of us will say the writer is saying this because at the ultimate, death will be defeated. But another person would argue that death continues to kill families. So that is the essence of book clubs, where we come together and we revise and we do book reviews. Another one spoke about Sis Poppy, or another one spoke about an unknown citizen. Please, when you have time, Google this poem, Unknown Citizen. But as you read through Unknown Citizen, it will tell you this is a person who was well known. But the writer still says unknown citizen. But as well known as this person was, where he would even on Sundays be seen buying a Sunday newspaper, he would be seen driving lavish cars and be known by the whole world. But when he dies unknown. It is said only military vehicles were there to bury him. The writer terms this person the unknown citizen. Now, as you read that poem, you are going to learn quite a number of things in how we deal with our daily livelihoods, just by through the writings. He comes, Karabo Kagiso, he comes here on the year where we celebrate and we say, should Charlotte Maxeke had lived to this date, in April she would have turned 100 years. We mark a centenary of a profound woman, a woman of substance, a leader of integrity, as the poet here narrates. But as you read through his poem, as he writes, we will be able to argue and stand for what Charlotte Maxeke really stood for, which was a total emancipation of women in particular. She was there when there was a march organized by women. She led it. She soldiered on. And today, as we meet in this youth summit, we want women of substance to come out of here. We want in this 2-day summit to say, if social development could actually come and portray how you should apply, having even done your constitution, it's already done for you, you saw, ne? It just says, after 5.6, if there's anything you want to add, then you retype and you add 5.7. Then why are we not having non-profit organizations to change the plight of our societies? Why are we not doing it? It's already done for us. The matter, the onus is on us now. We take the document, we apply, we get coaching from them, and we change societies through reading. We can do that. We can have a better society. Now, I am here to add that out of this sitting that we are having, as we are going to form book clubs, you will go into your communities and you are going to form book clubs. But the book club must have a name. It must have an identity. Pioneers Book Club. If you liked what I'm presenting, you can even say Fundile's Book Club, you know, and have a book club. But on the week of the 4th to the 7th of October, we are going to have National Funda Mzansi Book Club competition. It's a national event that is going to take place. Now it means your book club can also partake in this national event. And we'll be very happy if out of this session, we can have a book club that can be chosen by Gauteng Province to represent Gauteng on those national Funda Mzansi competitions. It's going to take place on a venue to be announced, but here in Gauteng, it's going to be a hybrid event. Remember, we live in the times of COVID, social distancing and so forth. It means we are going to be assembled at a venue bigger than this. Only 6 book clubs out of Gauteng will be selected. Your book club might be part of that. Those book clubs will have 5 members. So, but it doesn't mean your book club cannot have up to 15. But we are saying out of your book club, you will select 5 members. National is then going to accommodate the book clubs in a venue. They will be at a hotel facility where they will be there for a period that they will mention to us and partake in this particular competition. Hybrid, we will present. It means after presenting, when we present, it means all the other provinces will be watching us. They will also have a chance to also present on those book club competitions. But now, as we were speaking with Matani, one of the things that province is going to do is, during selection, we must have our own, we must have our own book club competition that should take place at least approximately in September, so that we can be able to select 6 book clubs that should go into the national event that will take place in the week of the 4th to the 7th of October. So how I wish that out of here, we will also go and form those book clubs and take charge of our societies. Ours is simple. We want to transform the landscape of our country through reading. Hence, we are saying as a unit, and we are saying as all of us, reading changes lives.
I want to thank the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture also, and Recreation for the platform that has been presented to the youth. For many years that the youth are struggling. We've got a lot of challenges in our work as youth, that we have a lot of questions that we need to be assisted with. So I think maybe from my journey in life, I believe I'll impact 1 or 2, if not all, to also, because as I was listening to the questions that were coming, it was questions that I also had as a young man, and I see that also people out there also have the same kind of questions. I am Diani Mabunda, a professional football player, currently at Mamelodi Sundowns, also a national team. Also with Bafana. It's been a very crazy and wild journey for me, and I would like to share a few secrets that helped me to become the kind of a person that I am, to myself, to my family, to the community, and to the youth at large. I'm a professional footballer. Not only a professional footballer, I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm the founder and a president of Makar Holdings and Projects, which will deal with a lot of various job opportunities that we present. Mostly, I prefer to work with people who are not, who are lowly, who are trying to make it in life, also to give an opportunity to somebody, because I also know that also I was once in a position where I could not make it. And when God has given me an opportunity to make it, it's very important for me to remember also those who are down there, who are also going through the challenges that I also went through. And I believe that God has given me the keys to unlock a lot of things that have been locked to the youth, so that even after my lifetime, there will still be people who are continuing with the journey. You impact one, the next one will impact another one will impact another one. In that way, we were able to assist many people in different spheres. I'm also the founder of the Mabunda Foundation. I heard a lot of people have got NPOs, and I had a question. They were saying, is it possible to get funding because you have a lot of things you want to do? And with me, I do a lot of things. I really do too many things. I was also in that position because I was doing too many things that hindered me from receiving funding, like somebody who was asking the question. Because at any department, at any organization, if you're looking for funding, they want to see that where they're going to put their money, is it not going to be wasted or is it going to be in order? So I went to a level where I started to read books. When I was told about this initiative about reading books, it really helped me because I was able to put everything that I wanted to do into one organization. I do a lot. I've got youth mentoring. As much as I'm also young, but I've gained a lot of knowledge through reading books of people who have made it in life, people who have gone far. Because of reading books and being informed about what takes place in the happenings of the world, you gain a lot of knowledge that will help you to be able to present yourself in a proper manner, that when you approach any organization, it will be difficult for them to say no. I do prison mentorship. I visit prisons. I'm running a program with inmates, people who have done wrong, that are not accepted in the community anymore. But we need to also, I heard one was talking about Funda Mzansi. We also have Funda Mzansi in prisons. Even prisoners are also reading books because it helps them to become a different individual. There's a lot of juvenile prisons that we visit and assist in the rehabilitation and also getting them informed and feeding them with knowledge that is needed. We also do charity work. Throughout the COVID season, we've been visiting different locations. We're in Mamelodi, we're in Atteridgeville, we're in Soshanguve, we're in Giyani, we're in Polokwane, we're in Seshego, we're in Soweto, Tembisa, and all these things. If you look at a person as young as I am, you would ask, how do you get so much time? Plus your career, plus your personal life, and plus your family. How do you all get all those things done? It's because I spend a lot of time reading. You get information. There's information that we want to possess, but we don't have them because we never spend enough time with reading. So the moment I was given an opportunity to learn more from other people who have made it, it has helped me to put everything that I do into one boat. That is what the funder would want. He wants to support one thing, that is actually sure of what it is that you are doing. It is very important for us to, I know reading is not easy, because in today's generation we are more into the net, with regards to internet, social media, and most youth have been influenced by the information they get on social media that is negative. There's a lot of negative information running around on social media, and there's limited information that is positive on social media. But we will find a program and a platform like this one that not many people would consider going to, because we, as youth, in most cases, we want to look for the quickest way to find income in order for us to live a life that is presentable, a life that allows you to be recognized. But all that comes with a lot of hard work. A lot of youth people that we see that have made it, there was a sacrifice they made. Right now, as I look at everybody who is here, it is a sacrifice. It's a day where you could have been somewhere else, but you chose to be at a place where a platform has been presented to the youth to say we want to empower youth. Most youth, we don't want to come to a session like this. We want, as the quickest way, we want to find someone who can just give me money to start my business. But if I met one guy, he once said to me, I said, please give me funding. He said, do you trust your project? I said, yes. He said, do you have a car? I said, yes. He said, how much do you need? I said, I need 50,000 to start this project. He says, sell your car for 60,000 and take 50,000 and fund your project. It was very difficult for me to sell my car. It was very difficult. He says, how do you want me to fund you, and yet you don't trust that the money that you would get can fund your project? So should I, as the funder, take a risk where else you are not prepared to take a risk? If it were you today, if they were to ask you, how much do you need as a funding? You need 5,000. They ask, which cell phone are you using? iPhone 11, 12. They say, sell that phone for 8,000 and take 5,000 and fund that project, because you say you trust that it will make it. So take the 5,000, remain with 3,000, buy another cell phone too, so that you can communicate. But as youth, we want to spend a lot of money on things that are really not building us as individuals. And if we find a platform like this one that causes you to be informed about the things that are taking place in life. You know, we look at somebody and we just admire how he's making it in life. But what he does behind, what you don't see, what we don't show on social media, we only show the good part. The part that I was once sitting down and listening to someone, I don't show. Once that I go to the library and get a book to read, I don't show that part. We want to show the part where people like your post. But those people who like your post, you don't know whether they are reading at that time or whether they are wherever. Maybe they are in class and they happen to see your post. So it is very important for you to also use your social media as a platform to encourage other people also to study, to learn. I'm actually still studying now. I'm studying at the University of Pretoria. Also doing it part-time, but also studying at TUT full-time. Imagine. I'm still studying even now. It's not easy. And I still have to go to training. I still need to report at work. I still need to run my business. I still need to be a role model. I still need to be a child in the house. I still need to be a husband. I still need to be a father. All those things, they can only be done if you have information inside of you. It does not just happen. We don't just sabawela and you say, I sabawela that guy. There is a lot of things that go in that are not shown to the public that we do. And it's very important. There's a scripture in the Bible that I like. It's in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse number 12. It says, don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. But instead, be an example to other people by the way you talk, by the way you live, by the way you love people, by the way you do your daily walk in life. So if even in the Bible it tells you, don't look down on yourself because you are young. You must see yourself. If the only way we can impact the youth is if first you impact yourself. You can't want to go and be, you can't open a NPO and you want to go and give to other people if you don't have. If you yourself don't have, you can't go and give other people. Because you go and give, and then you expect that person, when he makes it, then he must come back. It's like he owe you. No, it doesn't work like that. The Bible says you must give what you have decided in your heart. Not give because you are under pressure. Because it's COVID, you also want to go quickly and get things to go and give out. And yet you know at home there's nothing. But you want people to see so that you can have pictures to post and show people. It doesn't work like that. You must be able to give someone 10,000 rand, knowing that you've got 10 million in your account. Don't just go and you ask a funder to give you money, and then you go and you give, and then you take pictures, and then you go home, you've got stress yourself. But the people you've touched, you must first empower yourself Be in a position where you know and understand that I am going to make it. I've been running the foundation myself for like 6 years, out of my own pocket. Because fundraising was difficult until everything began to fall into place. I put everything in one boat. It becomes easy. I'm part of a global initiative called GIFT. It's from the USA. It's GIFT Global. Recently, yeah, you must clap better. You imagine me like this. You can clap even better than that. We're part of a global initiative that is currently, right now, they're in Dubai. They're doing initiative in Dubai. They just closed the deal with the Prince of Dubai. Imagine. Dubai. The only way this can happen is if you have information. You can never attract funders. You always look for funders. I will repeat this. You always look for funders if what you have, if you do not have enough information in you. But if you have enough information in you, a funder will look for you. Funders will look for you because of what you post. You will show us that you have. A funder does not want to just take money and risk. It doesn't work like that. They must be sure that what they put in, it will bear fruits. But with youth in today, we just want the quickest way to get out of a problem, the quickest way to be famous, the quickest way for people to like me, to get more followers. But what you have must attract the funder. The funder must be attracted to put money away. Because money is, even me, even now, if someone says fund me, I must think, I'll fund you. What are you going to do? So no, I want to go to the community and give. I'll ask you, but do you have you? That's the first question I ask you. You, do you work? No. Where do you stay? Do you stay alone? No, I stay at home with my parents. So what do you want to do? No, we want to go and build a house for someone. But you, do you have a house? No. So before I can empower, you can empower a lot of people. You need to have something for yourself. Like today, that guy, you see that guy there at the back, in the brown, is my personal photographer. Everywhere I go, he goes with me. And he is my brother. He's my young brother, but he is now a professional photographer. So wherever he goes, he must take pictures. I don't want to wait for, so you know it's tough when someone takes a picture of you, and then now you must send a WhatsApp and they ask you, hey, wait, I will send for you. But the picture is me. You are not in the picture. It's me. Send my picture. Until I got tired of those things. To say, no, send my pictures. I will send. You are waiting. I want to post, but no, this guy is holding my picture. You want to post me and tag me, my picture. So now I've got my own personal photographer. I've got my own personal media company. Yeah, when I go, I must take pictures. If we want to record, if we want to go live, it must be proper. That is how we're supposed to be as youth. If you look at the youth that changed the way in which things happened in South Africa, they sacrificed a lot of things. And us today, youth, we just want to ride and celebrate, June 16. But what are we doing ourselves? Are we really changing the nation? Are we really impacting the next generation? The generation of youth that will come after us. Are we really doing it? So it is very important for us to make time to get information, read books. Read books. That one is the most difficult thing. The knowledge that you have determines where you are going. If you only have knowledge to post Sabawela, you will Sabawela for a very long time. You will Sabawela. There is one of my quotes, actually my favorite quote from my quotes. It says, the pressure on the inside must always be greater than the pressure on the outside. Each and every single one of us here has got a pressure inside. Like right now, I heard someone talking about there's a lot of NPOs. You've got that pressure on the inside to be an impact. And on the outside, pressure is coming that, no, you will not make it. This thing you want to do, it will not work. This thing, but it must be you that you must, the one on the inside. I remember when I went to Mamelodi Sundowns, when I got there, people were saying, you won't make it. You won't play, you are killing your career. But on the inside, I was telling myself, you will make it. Go there and try. If you fail, you fail, but try. Today, yeah. So the pressure on the inside of you, you must have so much information in you that the time and the day the information comes out, it must shock everyone. People must look down. I was happy to see, I saw someone who was a security guard, and they were showing that person that he just graduated. Imagine, our one is just a normal person, but they've tried so much to get information. Without information, what do you want to do? That idea, it will just remain an idea. You will even start telling people that, no, this guy is rude, he doesn't want things, since he made it, he doesn't think about other people. It doesn't work like that. You must be able, you will be saying people changed. Yes, he was poor, now he's rich. So you can't want a person who's made it to live like he's not made it. So you need to get information. Trust you me. I'm talking about myself. I have not spoken about other people. I'm speaking of what I know that works. All these other things of just going to play lotto and it's not easy. A lot of youth have ventured into Forex. Am I correct? But few of them are making it. Others are blowing their accounts. Others are doing this. But those who are making it, they spend a lot of time in class learning how to trade. You don't just say, no, it's the in thing, now we must trade. And I will make money. Because they show you, they don't show you when they blow their account. They show you when they make money. And you come. You come. My brother, this one, is a Forex trader. He started off and he blew a lot of accounts. We finished money when we started. Until I said, no, now money is finished. Now let's try mine now. Find the best people, the ones who make it, that can teach you. They can teach you how to trade. Now, he's enjoying. He's enjoying life. So I just want to encourage you that the information that you get, this platform is rare. In most cases, the platforms that we get today is platform to go to Mretile. Things are happening. We're going to Midrand, we're going to Santon. Those are the ones that are shown. A lot of youth have gone into music, have gone into entertainment. But it's not easy to make it. Trust you me. It's not easy. Even ask the guy who was doing a poem. It's not easy to get a gig. But he's got a passion inside. And he does not care whether people say he's good or not. Him on the inside, he believes. That's why today you can find him performing at a platform like this. The pressure on the inside is greater than the pressure from the friends or people who may say, no, you are wasting time doing this. But right now, he's performing in front of a government initiative. So it is very important to get knowledge. Sometimes we miss the information that is put here because as youth, we don't want to indulge in information. We want that one who will say, no, if you do this business, you will invest here and then you will get 50% increase. We want that one. It's the quickest way. But the one that brings you information, it will not just be for this project. It will be for a lifetime. You will be at a position where even the one sitting next to you right now will tell someone to say, I was with that person at that initiative. But they will ask, what did you do with the information that he used at the initiative? Did you go and read a book? Or it was just another seminar you went to and you went home? You just attended, you got a book and a pen. Did you use it? Did you write notes? Did you go to the library? Did you open a book club? Did you join a book club? So it is important. Me, I like it to see youth making it. So we can post and see. When you post something, it must also send a message to the one who sees the post. As much as don't post, if a post, can I say this for you? If the post you are going to post does not change you first, don't post it. It's useless. Before you post it, you must look at yourself. Do you see that picture? The one when you are wearing high heels and your knee is a bit like this. Does it impact you, or are you looking for followers? Do you want likes? Are likes going to change the way you think? Are likes going to change your bank account? Are likes going to help you to go to another seminar like this one? Or you are just going to screenshot and see how many people liked it or what? There must be everything you post. Use your platforms to encourage people to read books. Information is very sacred. It does not expire. Instagram today, we can say Instagram is no longer Instagram, it's Mastergram. You will jump like this. But you must be a person of impact, that anyone who sees you, even when you walk on the road, they must just see you as a youth with a difference. Let us be the change we want to see. The youth of 1976, they wanted to see change, they forced change. Let the youth of our generation force the change we want to see, that in the near future, other people, it must be a normal thing. It must be a normal thing for them to do. I don't want to take time. I think I've spoken a lot. I didn't even read what I wrote. I talk too much. But I think I covered a lot. Other things I think we'll just engage. Wherever possible. Thank you very much. I don't know if there is a question. I don't know if there are questions. Anybody with a question?
I came here running. I was flying on the road. And as I was flying on the road, I was reflecting as well. And I'm like, what am I going to talk to these guys about? I kept on asking, is it young people? Are they in high school? Are they varsity? Is it TVETs? Is it people that are in business? Employed? Unemployed? I was just confused. I'm like, okay, I'll be dealing with young people like myself. And let's have brother to brother, brother to sister talk. Okay? And speak about the real things, what really matters in life. Now, by profession, I'm an actor. I'm a key individual in the insurance space, the CEO of a company called Gauteng Financial Services. We deal with advice and intermediary services. We sell funeral policies, health insurance, short-term, long-term, like life. So we do insurance and we do consulting as well. But on the other side, I'm a president of a foundation called M Foundation, where our primary goal really is to look at marginalized communities. Primarily, it will be rural areas, townships that have less infrastructure. What we do is we go establish infrastructures and allow young people to read. So far, we've donated a library called M Foundation library, given it to a community of Ramlebo. We are currently busy also building another one to donate, mainly because we think and believe that where there's structure, then you are able to allow the community the local community to interact with the international community as well. And I'm an actor on screen as Tibos Maputla, but I've started really on stage. I have a very strong background on community theater. So I've done a lot of that before I could go into the mainstream theater. I think the focus of today is to really identify the relevance of reading in education, isn't it? Okay, I want to tap into that. So, I dropped out twice of varsity. All right? The first dropout was due to funds. I dropped out. It's like you could foresee that you're going to drop out because you know you don't have money. And whenever you're around your peers, you know, they're looking forward to continue with their program the following year. And what has always been ringing in my mind was, okay, Connect, what are you going to do? They're going back to school. What will you be doing? Okay, you just finished your second year, and chances are you're not employable. So what should I be doing? And then I started doing a lot of backstage work. I would dress artists. I would be a stage manager. I would be a lighting operator, a sound operator. Eventually, I developed a festival called Young Artists Festival, which I think I was 21 or so, or 20. And I managed to produce that festival with the Joburg Theatre. And my drive was, okay, while they are there studying towards their professional degrees, let me establish a ground where they can test their materials. So I ran this festival where it got artists in place, be it you're a wardrobe lady, you are a makeup artist, be it you are a lighting designer, and you're a director, you're a writer. So I did that festival. After running that festival from the funds that I've fundraised in Zimbabwe and Botswana through teaching drama, I went, we established the festival, it was successful. I managed to get work as well, managed to get money. I went back, I did my third year. Third year, before it ends, I knew, oh God, you're not gonna go to fourth year. You don't have enough money. Remember, parents have exhausted all the funds, they've done loans. They don't qualify for a second page of loans. Third year I did it, drop out again, after finishing my third year. And I want to share my experience with you while I was at varsity. I had an opportunity to speak with this, to be taught by this lecturer. And he was black. And then he said to us, guys, you know, as a young person, as a young black person, as a young female black person, you are actually 10 steps back before you can kickstart anything. Be it is business or be it is your professional journey. Now, he said to us, I'll be real with you. So I think I was studying theater making. I was studying theater making. And he said to us, chaps, some of you in here are going to fail. You won't finish this program that you are studying. And he said, you see, this program is 4 years. Some of you are going to finish it in 7 years. And some of you in here, you're going to finish that program in 4 years. Like the years that you've been given, you will finish it in 4 years. And some of you, after graduating as directors, writers, performers, some will go into the industry and really be that you want to be. But some of you here are going to be waiters, waitresses. Some of you here are just going to be those individuals that are just roaming around. They're moving from one job to the other. That is not even in line with what they want to do. And till date, I appreciated that reality. When he was saying that, already I knew I have an extra year to go. I have added 1 extra year towards my program. Like, yeah, you're talking to me. So it's important as young people to really understand and be realistic with the world that we're living in. You decide. You don't decide by talking and just merely doing research or networking with people or putting in hours, or it's a combination of everything. Through working backstage, I was able to meet a casting director that told me about an opportunity of an audition. You get it? You don't sit back and say, I'm waiting for an opportunity to come. What dropping out has taught me was to constantly push myself a couple of steps ahead of my peers that were still finishing their professional degree. As they were starting to be performers, directors, because they're privileged to be in that program, I was pushing to be in the industry and be that actor. By the time they finished there, I'm like, no, I have a couple of years experience. And true, Skim Sam came into the picture. It found me working. They found me traveling and acting on stage. You get it? Had I not invested time in reading, in understanding the field that I'm in, and not waiting for an opportunity or funds to go back to varsity before I can actually boost my morale, I wouldn't be where I am. I took time to really analyze the industry and say, what's next? What can I know? I went to Vest Radio, I was a content producer. I studied content producing, not at school, but I've engaged materials. I've been part of the theater practitioners that were contextualizing your Norwegian scripts into the African context, because I was reading and I was engaging with my peers and my elders in the industry. That's what I was doing. When I started the insurance business, I had no idea of what insurance was. But one thing for sure that I knew was that I can sell, I can communicate. So acting has taught me to be anything that I can be, anything. That's how I apply the principles of performance. I had an opportunity to graduate on screen, and in real life, I've never. You understand? That's how personal I take it. I got into the insurance industry, I've learned on the process. It's only recently that I've graduated in short-term insurance. But before then, what was happening? It is through engaging materials. You do not need to be validated by a program of some sort. You read for knowledge, for wisdom. That's what you do. A lot of us read and study for completion. And that's what sets the likes of us apart from them. Without those papers before, we would really prove our worth. Because every time when we engage those materials, it's, let me get wisdom. Let me get wisdom. Let's talk about it. Oh, you are a compliance officer. Okay, compliance man. Let's talk. Because I've read them. I've read the regulations. Is it writing we're talking about? We're looking for formats. Let's talk. I've read those books. I know what is required. Am I waiting for the next man to tell me? No. I do it. I'm very young. I'm very young, and with the amount of things that I've done and amount of materials that I've engaged, it's like I'm living, there's an extra 10 years of age that is added, and I enjoy it. A lot of times when I'm with my peers, it's more on, he's like, I'm doing this, I'm trying to do this. I'm like, I've done it. I've failed. You will fail, and you must embrace failure. You must embrace it. You need to embrace failing. It's the most difficult thing, painful thing, but at the end, you enjoy. As an individual, as a young person, you must long for an opportunity to be in the process, not for the returns or the outcomes. It is the process that matters the most. It is what you go through on a day-to-day basis that matters the most. You see those struggles? No man can lie to you tomorrow. You see it coming from a distance. You see an opportunity from a distance like, it It is the process. It's what you take yourself through every day that builds the character. You know, when they said, hey, now I'm better, I can speak a bit of English. Hey, Imran, English was difficult. You would go on stage, portray a character, but because the script is in English and you're trying to get the emotions across, there you are on stage crying. But because the accent and the manner in which you articulate is not in line with how people think it's correct, and they will laugh. And every time when you get the notes that keeps on saying, do you know tongue twisters? Do you know voice exercises? Try this exercises so that certain words can come out nice, But I have invested in African languages. Little do they know that actually there will be a role where he'll play one of the leads in his indigenous language. Belonging is fine, but don't want to belong. You cannot strive. You cannot chase validation, guys. You cannot want to belong. You cannot want to look cool. Those things are outdated. We are interested in what you are saying, what you think, what innovations you're bringing. You can only get that through engaging materials. Yeah. I wish I can share a lot, but I need to short left. But I know we'll have these types of engagements one day. We'll talk, we'll have our own Q&As, sharing and getting deeper into things. But I will leave you with this. Popcorns, right? So when you are at home there, those are there. We have those naturally cooked popcorns, right? At home in our homes. You go to the store and then you buy those seeds, right? And then you prepare them at home, isn't it? You see the ones that I'm talking about. You do, ne? You buy them. I want to take you through that process. You buy those seeds, you get to the house, you get to the kitchen, pan, put it on the stove, switch on the stove, oil in there, it starts to warm, right? It starts to warm, right? Pour in those seeds in there, and they start to feel the heat, right? What happens? They start popping, right? But let's just look deeper into that. They start popping, right? Are they popping at the same time? No. They are not, right? They pop one by one, others in twos there, others in threes, and some of them burn, isn't it? They burn. Some burn, some really becomes the real popcorns. And that is life. We will not get a taste of success at the same time. So when others get a taste of success, celebrate them. Push them. Go there. How did you manage? You will get one thing. You'll get something. It won't happen at the same time. But let that not discourage you. Your turn will come. Guys, it does not matter. Your turn will come. Sure.
My mom decided, my stepmom, she decided, this child reads too much. Why doesn't she write? So she wakes me up early on a Saturday morning, and she expects me to be this lively human being. 7 years old. I wasn't even properly at school. School started at 9 o'clock at that time. I didn't even have to write exams. I didn't have to worry about nothing, right? But I wrote this book about childhood obesity and bullying because after my mother passed away, my one resort was to eat the pain away or either just, forget about it. And bullying, because at my old school, I used to get bullied constantly. I was even told that I lied about my own mother's death. Like, why would somebody do something? Haha, my mom's dead. Look at me, I'm so sad. It's strange, right? But I feel like also people are always focusing on the big things in the world. Like, there's big issues for people mostly this age. It's mental health. And right now for the whole world, not South Africa, it's corona. But that also makes us shadow the small things, like childhood obesity. If I was to ask so many children, why aren't you worried about the fact that you're obese? They'd probably say something like, oh, I'll grow out of it when I'm an adult. My mom did. Don't you think your mother's mother made them work hard? Like, you have to work for things. And people just make it slide it like, oh, it's just a child. What's the worst that could happen? It's just a child. It's still a human being. Just because I might be 7 and you're 21 doesn't make a difference. Do I still live and breathe like you? Yes, I do. I'm just younger, right? So you can't just shadow the small things because they're still there. And when it's shadowed, then it's just complete to the point it's going to be completely ignored. Be like, oh, why should I worry about obesity? There's coronavirus. The bigger things matter. Everything matters. Not only the bigger things. Because then they're just going to end up going silent and people are not going to want to speak about them anymore. Yes, there's so many important things, the big things that need to be talked about, but there's also small things that need to be addressed. As they're just going to sit there. And then children are starting to think, oh, nobody's addressed it. I haven't seen anybody on TV address the situation. I'm sure it's nothing. Because if people that I don't see out there address the situation, then it doesn't matter. That's what everybody thinks. But it matters. Everything matters. That's why I wrote this book. And this book's practically about 2 foodies that they love eating food. Like their whole planet is food. Not the good kind, though. Just sweets and all that stuff. Because I wanted to make sure, if you can read, you can understand the story. But I read this book to my baby brother, and he doesn't understand a word I'm saying, but he understands the pictures. That's why I like to make my pictures very clear. And this book is practically about bullying because the minute they started to gain weight, these 2 foodies here, the minute they started to gain weight, everybody was like, go away. I don't like you. Sorry, I don't associate myself with fat people. Sorry, you see those people over there? They're skinny, so I'm going to hang out with them. You can stay with your chubby friends, right? But it also came to the point where in this illusion, they're scared of the gym. But to us, it's, no, I'll go to the gym later. I'll do it another time. I'm busy. Make time. You can make time for yourself. You don't have to wait for somebody to say, oh yeah, you have time today. Go to the gym. No, you make time for yourself. You make time for yourself because time is all about you, right? So they end up going into the gym and the gym machines come alive and torture them, which is basically saying that the work is hard. It's gonna hurt. It's hard. Some people experience pain for the first time gymming in a while. You'll be going home like, oh, my leg hurts. But it takes time because your body doesn't get used to it. But you see how it's hard. It's basically saying that. You don't think you're just gonna go to gym and it's gonna be easy. It's not a drop in the ocean. It's hard, but it's what you have to do to work for a healthy living. Yeah.
Good day, everyone. I go by the name of I Am Who I Am. But my real name is actually Karabo Edward Mashapu. I'm the self-publishing author of 7 books, which are all non-fiction. My journey actually started like in the year, and my journey in self-publishing books actually started in 2013. I published the book that goes by the name of Formation of Poetic Rap, which was published in 2013. In the very same year, I published The Mind is a Powerful Weapon. And in 2014, I published my third book, which is titled Manifestation of Esoteric Perception. And in 2015, it's titled Enlightenment. This one is more of a digital one. And in 2016, I published Gateway to Infinite Wisdom, which was also selected and approved by the Department of Education. It's also approved and selected by the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, which are published in 2016, as I said. And in 2017, I published the one titled Exposed. 2019, I Am Who I Am. So basically, my journey in writing, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not really outspoken, so I'm gonna be reading from slides. I basically started writing at the age of 14. However, I started off as a lyricist because I grew up being heavily obsessed and influenced by rap music. So that's where I got my inspiration from. I changed from being a lyricist to becoming a poet, and that's how I managed to self-publish my first anthology book, poetry book, in 2013, from being a poet to becoming the author that I am today. The question, why do I write? I write to spark and instill knowledge in people's mind, wisdom too if possible. I write about daily situation which takes place. However, as people, we do not always pay special attention to events and situations which should trigger our mind to think profoundly and expand our consciousness so that we can comprehend life in a deeper sense for what it really is. Being able to interpret the smallest of signal life is sending. I write to teach readers to be open-minded and never ignore the intuition, for I believe it's a message that the universe or God is sending to you. I deeply believe and feel that one of the reasons I was actually brought into this world was to influence and kind of make a positive difference in people's life through my words. I give life words. Basically, I give birth to words to trigger certain neurons in people's mind to think profoundly and expand the way of thinking. The knowledge and wisdom in my words, I believe, is very powerful. I also believe that my words should be like undying music that is never forgotten. Even after millennium years, people should quote my work, and my work should be spread globally. And God willingly, I believe I will get there and I will achieve that goal. Concept that I basically published or write about in my books. Normally, my books are basically a collective of quotes, and some of them are poems. So I basically fuse poetry and quotes in most of my books that I publish. So concept that I published about is life, spirituality, relationship, love, brainwash, indoctrination, ancestors, extraterrestrial or aliens. I also speak about God. I do not only write about some of the things because I was taught about them, but because I experienced those things and I have seen them. Most of this concept I write about are based on my personal experiences. I believe some are encrypted and still and deeply rooted in my DNA and soul. So I basically discover and unravel and decipher them gradually as I grow up. The difference between, I'm going to give you a brief background about the difference between self-publishing and traditional publishing. What I can tell you about self-publishing, it has no boundaries. You can publish in whichever manner that you like to and work, because you have to pay the editors or designer your books and printers with your own money. That's in terms of self-publishing. So if you're willing to take that route there's nobody to fund you, you can go the self-publishing route. And when in traditional publishing, all you have to do is just submit your manuscript, and if you meet the requirement and how you write the way they instructed you, you can basically get published, but it's not always that easy. I'm going to speak about my book, Gateway Infinite Wisdom, which is there on the far right. In the year 2018, I won during the African Authors Award, I managed to win an award for that book. It was also bought by the Department of Education. What I can tell you about my book, Gateway to Infinite Wisdom, is that it compromises my perception on life in form of quotes. It's also an inspirational, motivational book. I've compiled a few of my quotes that I'd like to share with you. What I actually wanted to do is to go in depth by discussing my poem in depth, but since, well, we don't have enough time, I'm just gonna read some of the things that I published in my book, some of my quotes. I said, if you look at this one, I said, when you're close to receiving your blessings, the devil brings himself closer to the doorstep. Be wise to smell his feet, for he'll try to stop you by all means from obtaining what you're destined to achieve. Can I get a hallelujah? If you like it, a snap. Okay. The next one says, a true relationship cannot only be built on happiness alone. Couples have to argue sometimes, go through hardships and challenges together to see if they truly love and understand each other. Witness the negative side of one another by being present for one another, even during unbearable situations and settles of times. The next one says, one should be careful who they call the future wife or husband. What currently entertains you and excites you might not please you as you grow older, 10 years from now or beyond. Study the person before you settle and choose wisely. The next one says, your faith in God is truly discovered during tough times. You truly see your genuine trust in the divine during hard times, as you would praise and worship the Almighty during wonderful times. Also acknowledge and believe in Him when facing predicaments. Amen. Life wouldn't stop being a struggle even if you got what you wanted. Things just improve for the better. The struggle of being challenged by life continue, just in a different way. By show of hands, how many of you believe in ancestors, guardian angels? Okay, thank you. So I'm going to dedicate the following quote to you guys. I said, do not feel offended by people who call you delusional, wicked, paranoid for speaking about ancestors. They have never been possessed by a spiritual force. People who truly understand how ancestors and guardian angels operate, often those with a calling, who normally see them, feel them, or communicate with them. Skeptics have never experienced such, hence they can never relate. We all know anything related to the spiritual world, you have to know them spiritually or sense them spiritually. So yeah. The next quote goes, never utilize your material possession to build and reinforce any relationship. Should they perish, so will the relationship perish as well. Often as people, we like to use money or material possession in order to stabilize the relationship or buy life. So in this quote, I was just basically telling you not to do that. Most of us tend to struggle about the past, and it becomes difficult for us to move on. So this following quote was basically dedicated, or how it sparked my mind, because I also have my own troubles, and sometimes it becomes difficult, but I've managed to overcome that. It goes like, most people struggle because of the past. Should've, would've, could've have past tense. Since, well, we cannot go back, let's leave that in the past. The next one says you have to be consistent, know what you want, because I've been writing for 14 years, and it was never easy for me to get to this stage. I'm not saying I'm a pro in terms of writing or anything. I believe that I'm still learning. And I also want to improve my skill in writing. But it basically took me around 12 to 13 years to manage to sell a lot of books. As you can see, I managed to sell them in bulks. By show of interest, how much would you say are made the highest amount from self-publishing books? Who wants to guess? Just want to share in terms of self-publishing if you want to go that route. No, in terms of selling my books in bulks, the highest amount. How much? 10 grand. Or I managed to make 50K. Yeah. Well, what I can tell you, Rome wasn't built in one day. So, as I said, it took me, I started writing at the age of 14. I started off as a lyricist, but to get to this point, it took me many years. It was never easy. I'm still ambitious, still want to publish more books, because I believe I have a lot to share with the world. But in order for you to get there, you must be consistent, never give up. It was never easy, as I said, yeah. And once again, I'd like to thank the Department of Sports and Culture for inviting me. Thanks a lot for your time and everyone who listened to me. Thank you.
Greetings to everyone. My name is Pumlani Mpele. I am from Soweto, but currently I stay here at Pretoria. Here I came to present my speech about the Reliable Hatfield Book Club, which is a book club that was established during the year 2019. The first book club ever around Hatfield, which is the book club that was formed and founded by the homeless people in Hatfield. Majority of the members of the book club are substance users. We are an institution whereby we are funded by University of Pretoria. We collaborated and working together with the COSAP, which is a community-oriented substance use program around Pretoria. I know many of you know about this project. What I will say about the book club now, I want to tell you about the establishment and the aims of the book club. It came as a solution to the limited resources with the target of allowing people to have reading materials. The reason why we did this, it is because we have realized that many people need to be informed about the importance of reading. Before I can ask my helper here to open, to slide for me to the adoption, to where we have adopted our book club, so that I can be quickly, I'll be on time. Yeah, if you can check very well, we always get help from Umampopi Babela. She is working for sports, art, culture and recreation department. She always used to come with her colleagues, which are working from Gauteng, which are from the Gauteng Libraries and National Library of South Africa. They used to come in our book club to encourage us with our book club. Our book club, if you can check there at the back, there is our banner. It's a Reliable Hatfield Book Club. We have 8 key things that we do in our book club. We do book readings, book review, poetry, public speaking, dialogue, spelling bees, motivational speaking, and debates. All these things, we have adopted them from the Funda Mzansi competition that was mentioned by Mr. Fundile. I've adopted this as a co-founder of the book club because I once went to George and participated in a competition of Funda Mzansi during 2017. I was part of the debaters who debated during that competition. When we were debating with my team, we were the ones in the category of isiZulu who took all the medals and all the cups during that time, which are the things that I can prove to you now. We have won 2 of the gold medals from Funda Mzansi. Mr. Fundile has mentioned a lot of things that I was supposed to mention. I'm glad Uguti, he made me Uguti Amasin to be too long. If you can all see that these are all the things that you are going to achieve, and there are cups that you're going to achieve or trophies when we go there to the competition that he mentioned to us. So what I like about this kind of book club is that it caters all the languages of South Africa, all 11 languages of South Africa. There is something that we used to forget when we open or we establish our book clubs, is that we don't cater the illiterate people. We only want to go there as academics, the people who can only speak English. We forget that the people that we need to deal with are the ones that are literate. They also can't read and write, but why can't we take them and make them to engage through dialogues, through debate? Because when you debate, you'll speak on your own language and talk to the people. You do what you know than only reading books. We can share information in many ways. I have examples that I can show you now that in our book club, we do the talent search. We search the talents of the people. So now I can call one of my book club members, who is Mr. Franz Matlaba. He's got a talent. And then what he will do for us, I want him to give you a poem to show you that we identified this thing through our book club. We didn't only focus on the books because we want to change the world through the books. The poem he's going to recite, it's also information that can help everyone. I can give over to him, at least to render you this poem. Okay.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Just a short introduction to introduce myself. I came to join this book club house while I was still in addict, you know, I was still in active addiction. So since I came here, I was able to express my talents. So I'm gonna just quote one poem for you. Yes, I live for you, God, Savior of my life. Looking back at my past, I really should have died. Lord, you rescued the sinner through hell and pain. How could I ever forget that they gave me life again? Before all that, when I've been looking back, like left, right, looking for Lizita, like life in Zima, I wish I could give up. And call me a suicide. But then again, put your trust in the Lord. Then I promise you peace, joy, and life in abundance. Lord, help me to change this life for better. Sick and tired of struggling, sinning against the Holy King. I just want to be so wise and believing. Lord Jesus Christ, Savior of my life. So,
thank you very much, brother. Yeah, that's one of the examples of the talent that we have picked up from our book club. So the other thing is that we have encouraged one of the students from University of Pretoria. He was not homeless, he was not an addict, but he got attracted to the book club. He used to come to our book club to come and see what we are doing. By coming there, he ended up telling us that, you know what, my brother, the books that I'm using to read here, they've made me to become eager to write my own book. So the guy is with me here is Mr. Elton. He wrote his own book. I brought him today here so that he can come and show people what we are doing in our book club. Fortunately so, his book You saw what happened now to all the authors who wrote their books. They've asked them to bring their copies. That's the opportunity he came across. He never thought that you'll end up coming across this opportunity. So I'll ask him to give us a brief, not be too long, in his book review, just to tell us about a small history of his own book. Sure, bro.
Good afternoon, everyone. My book is called What Am I Doing in This World? I decided to title this book. Actually, I'm a musicologist. As he said, I was inspired by what they do in Reliable book club. I decided to join them after I was so inspired, and I decided to write my own book, to tell my own story. Basically, the title is What Am I Doing in This World? Why was I born? Yes, we were all born in 1952, 1976, 1950. But what is our purpose? I wrote this book because I was looking for my purpose. What is it that I'm here for? I went through most things to support me in what I'm doing. I decided to study music, but because of the family that I'm from, they believe music is nothing. You have to study medicine, you have to be an engineer, accountant. Those are the things that will make you a human being. But I decided to prove them otherwise. Today I'm a musician. I just graduated this year. And now, I want to tell you, I found my own purpose, regardless of whatever I went through. She just shared a story. Her mother passed away. Then what? Life goes on. She wrote the books. Now she's an author. Regardless of whatever you're going through, yes, there will be hunger, but your purpose will give you whatever it takes to be where you want to be. So my book, you can get it from Reliable Club or for me directly, and it's 200 Rand. Thank you.
Hello everyone, how are you? My name is Theo Mutau from Mamelodi, aka the president of Mamelodi. And I'd like to thank the government for giving me this opportunity. Most of the time, entertainment, we don't interact with people like this. We interact with people through music. So, one village challenge, I must come and read. And I went to a bookstore, I bought a book. I'm leading by an example to other entertainers.